bridge by the Grubenman brothers, who pushed the limits of timber technology, which at the end of the day is the only sustainable technology, to its limits at the end of the 18th century, and then were largely forgotten. And I'd like to make a case for them now. H is also for high expectations, particularly of head teachers, who tend to head up building projects. It's about high ceilings, it's about high hopes, and it's not about high fences. H is also about hard hats and about being hard-nosed in the face of considerable opposition within the culture of the delivery of schools to do anything other than the norm. So a good deal of hyperbole is required. H is also for I is for insight, and it's also about inspiration. And I strongly believe that school buildings have to inspire from within. It's a process from within to without, from youth to if you like, any age. I think it's more important that schools are internally inspiring. It's about being incredible, and it's not about intolerance, nor is it, I believe, about in-situ work anymore. I think the day of being able to afford in-situ skill has gone, and we have to face this. And this building is a wonderful example of in-situ skills, which is simply not affordable within the school sector. So we have to look to inspirational prefabrication techniques far more. This building, this sports hall I'm showing you is the first example of UK public construction using engineered timber panels, mass timber construction, 100% timber building. J is for joined, and that refers specifically to joined up thinking rather than joints in large panel buildings. It's about making connections between every letter in the alphabet to avoid waste and to maximize results. So in the case of Kingsdale, it was very much about joint ventures between contractors, artists, architects, and educationalists. In that sense, it was about jamming. K and knowledge resides now, as Kia has already referred to, in IT. IT rather than books. Knowledge is something which perhaps denies the relevance of building at all, and therefore the argument for knowledge is that it's more easily digested and communicated in a social context rather than in, say, the context of a classroom. I think knowledge is also the key to the construction of future school buildings. I firmly believe that the recent developments in engineered timber are something which offers hope, in as much as it's the only carbon negative construction system possible. On the left you have traditional woodworking skills, now superseded by those on the right, which rely on the knowledge of mass production and CNC cutting, computer numeric control specifically. So L is for light, and one cannot underestimate the importance of light, and that learning is seeing the light, and that light levels and learning from lateral environments are absolutely key to the well-being of any person working in any space. This room, again, is a wonderful example. When we arrived, the windows were changed, and the side windows were screened, and suddenly you notice the top light coming in. The quality of top light is quite different from any other light. M is for music, but it's also a big, for me it's a very important letter because it means making. It means not just making music, it means making as in thinking, because making is also thinking. M is also managing expectations. It's about meetings and managing meetings. It's about method. It's about the Midas effect. And that, I think, is the challenge. We have effectively to turn a straightforward building program into goal. We have to turn multi-use and multitasking into multicoloured and multiply. N is for naughty, naughty but nice. It's also for no, as in no strings attached. O is for object, by which I mean the object of the exercise, and also the importance of objecting specifically to boring schools. Could O also be the O-level woodwork in me coming through? If it is, I apologise, but I am proud to have made the first timber lift. P is for plan, and the plan is the generator. The plan is an architectural generator, but it's also not just a planning of spaces, planning of places. It's about phasing. It's about paper, and it's even about politics. It reminds me of the fact that in every meeting I've ever been to, and there were something like 130 board meetings in the 9-year production of Kingsdale, as 36 phases, most of which were about reinstating and upgrading existing building stock. The P for politics and plan were central to those discussions, but it was significant to me that if there wasn't a plan on the table, you couldn't have the discussion. So in a sense, the politics could not be argued if there wasn't a plan on the table, and that's what architects do. No one else puts anything on the table that does that. Q is for questions. I believe questions are far more important than answers. We seem to have got ourselves into a situation where children in particular are not encouraged to constantly ask questions. And this alphabet tries to make a case for the importance of that. Q also is about the belief in quality, not quantity. We were very lucky because our quantity surveyor was a quality surveyor. R is for research. We did a little bit of research for the then DFES in response to what, the BSF program, what would it be? Kingsdale was a precursor for the BSF program. It was a deliberate experiment set up by Schoolworks in conjunction with the Architecture Foundation. We were then asked to design a school of the future. The National Curriculum Manifesto, as a reduction, reads reading, writing, arithmetic, doesn't it? If you look at our school proposal, the 3 R's were reduced to rational, radical, and reconfigurable. This was a responsive building which could accommodate different requirements that the school might have. If pedagogy changed, the school could adapt with it. The school were empowered by the process of being able to reconfigure their own educational town inside a climatic envelope. This was perhaps too much risk-taking, and consequently there is not an example as yet to show you, but I live in hope. It also has a high degree of recyclable components. The whole idea was that you could either recycle the elements of the building to make another building, or you could simply recycle the building itself to turn it into, for example, the conference centre or sports centre or even housing. R is also for roof, which is both refuge and risk. And in the case of Kingsdale, this was the result of the reinvention of the Eden syndrome. A great deal of research went into that. And yes, it's true that rain has a big impact on the noise levels within, but that's something that interestingly divides the school population between those who love the rain noise because it connects them with the outside, and those who think it's a distraction from the process of delivery. S is for social. For me, social is synonymous with special space. In the case of Kingsdale, we made one house structure for each